the scariest thing isn't change, it is staying the same. So I mentioned yesterday that we are traveling around Southeast Asia and Indonesia at the moment, and we have been doing so coming up a year. And this is with kids in tow, like teenagers. So this wasn't a light decision, and a lot of things had to change in order to make this a reality. And it came down to the fact that the thought of staying the same became scarier. So the change that needed to happen was, there was a lot of things, right? So we had to sell our stuff from our home. We had to get the kids, sort of sorted with online schooling. I had to quit my job and I had a business in the background that was sort of ticking along. So then had to bring that to the forefront and make that the main source of income in order to be able to do this. So a lot of change had to happen in there. I was also doing my certification, my life coaching certification during all of this as well. So it was full on. There was a lot, but all of that and all the things that we had to do in order to make this a reality, all of that became less scary than staying the same, staying in the job, doing the same old things. When the kids were younger, like we were a motocross family. We had our company and we were working during the week, and then in the weekends it was always motocross and traveling around and the kids racing, and it was full on, it was a lot. And then suddenly, we were living in Australia, and then it was just sort of like doing the same old thing every day. And I was just like, this isn't really for me. I need something else. I need something to change. And it got to the point where I was just willing to put in the change, willing to do the work, even though it was scary, in order to, do all the things that we needed to do. It was such a big risk. What if the business didn't sort of pan out? What if, this, what if that? We are fortunate that we've still got our homes back in New Zealand. So if everything turned to custard, then we at least can go home. We can tap out and we can go home. But it was just something that we just really wanted to do. We always wanted to sort of travel around. And it wasn't a decision that came lightly. And it was such a change for all of us, the kids and everything. And we had to leave our eldest son behind in Perth because he's doing an apprenticeship and he's got an amazing opportunity there. So, he wants to complete that. So that was a big decision as well. Like suddenly he's having to be an adult on his own. And so that was quite a lot of change for him. Obviously we had to pull the kids out of their school, and they're doing online school, and they're quite adaptable. Like when they were little, I always was, I never kept them to a strict, like, I can't go out during the day because of their sleep patterns or whatever. I was like, no, the kids revolve around us, we don't revolve around them, when they're little. So if we had plans for the day, we'd be going out with them. They would sleep in their pushchair or wherever, and they got used to that. They got used to being out in places. So they were so adaptable from a young age because of that, which was great. And also, they've had to, because we were, they sort of grew up in the South Island of New Zealand, and then we moved to the North Island, and then we moved to Australia. So they've been to sort of 3 different schools. And I know a lot of parents are just like, they stay in the one place while their kids are at school because, the kids are at school, and they just want to make sure that they've got that foundation and that they're secure and they're in the one school and all those things. Whereas our kids have been able to adapt to the different schools, make new friends, and completely adaptable. So when we decided we wanted to travel overseas, they were kind of like along for the adventure, even being teenagers, because, I can understand a lot of teenagers probably wouldn't want to sort of travel around. A lot of change for all of us, but yeah, like I said, the change of staying, the scariest thing was staying the same and not making the change. So yeah, that was just a little bit about me and how I got to do this traveling and travel around, and making it happen and making the changes and building my business and doing my coaching and yeah, so many things. But staying the same was more scarier than making all these changes and going for my goals. So yeah, I don't know who relates to that. I mean, if you do, drop me a comment. And yeah, well, that's it from me today. And I'll see you tomorrow. Or maybe not. Maybe Monday. Maybe I'll have the weekends off. But yeah, I'm trying to do this 30-day live challenge, but you know, it doesn't have to be 30 consecutive days. I've sort of, you know, made it so it's like a five-day minimum a week. So I'm doing it at least 5 times a day, 5 times a week. So I may see you tomorrow as a bonus, or I'll just see you on Monday.